So in this video, I am going to tell you about the microscope. Firstly, I will describe whole about the microscope, then I will go with its component, and at end I will tell you its different types. That there are different types of microscope: compound microscope, dark field microscope. Okay, and I will give some summary of these types as well, that what is the use of each microscope. Okay, so let's start first by the description of the microscope, that what is the microscope and what about its component. So let's tell you let me tell you its first definition. So the definition of microscope: a microscope is used to produce and enlarge the well defined image of object. Okay, and it uh, by the help of the microscope we can see very small particles, very small organism which we can't observe with our naked eyes. Okay, and the degree of the enlargement is called the magnification. Like whatever it's enlarged, so we called it magnification, or we can also say magnified power. So different microscope have different magnification, and sometimes it has different lenses in one microscope. Like one lens is of 40x, one lens is of 100x, 400x. Okay, oil immerse, and it has different name as well. Like for for 40x we call it scanner, and for 100x we call low power, 60x or 100x, and for 1000x we call it oil immersion, or it may be 100x, we can call it oil immersion. And there is a high power microscope. It's a part of the lenses which used in the objective lens. Okay, now it is expressed as the number of time, length and breadth of object multiplies. Okay, means 40x means it will divide 40 times. If a small is of 1 centimeter and we see it in microscope, it will see like 40 centimeter. Okay, if the object is of 5 centimeter, multiply it with 40, so it will become 200. Okay, for 200 centimeter. So this is the function of 40x, 100x, 60x, 1000x. Okay, now the light microscope is operated by using white light of light obtained from tungsten lamp. Sometimes the light we used in the microscope, we take the light from direct contact with sun. Okay, and there is a tungsten lamp who store the sunlight. Okay, who reflect the sunlight to the object. Now the total magnification is obtained by multiplying the object with that of the eyepiece. I told you this thing. So this is all about the description of microscope. Now let me tell you about its component. It has a different component, like eyepiece, drop tube, body tube, nose pin, objective, fine objective, coarse objective. This all things I will going to tell you by the help of a diagram. So firstly, in component, there is a supporting system in all the microscope. So the supporting system consists of 5 things. It has a foot. At last, you can see it has a foot. It has lymph. Lymph is its side. You are seeing here, which is called an arm. And the base. Base is the foot. In the arm, it is a lymph. And the revolving nose pin. Revolving nose pin. You can see revolving nose pin with place of 4 objectives. Okay, so this is the revolving nose pin. Second, the stage. Here you can see the stage where the slide is putting. Next, mechanical stage. One stage is this, and one there is another stage, which is mechanical, means which can rotate, which can move here to there. Okay, so these are the 5 supporting system in the microscope. Next, there is a magnification system. There is mainly 2 magnification. First, eyepiece, which you can see at the top, and second, objective lens. So there are different objective lens like 40x, 60x, 100x. I told you in description. And eyepiece also have some different, what do we call, magnification power, like it, but it has very less, like 4x, 6x, 10x. Okay, now there is some illumination system that from where you can take sources of light, like you can take sunlight. So there is a mirror, you can see. Okay, this mirror is mainly a concave mirror. Okay, sunlight will come, it will reflect to the stage. Here you can see the slide, so it will go at slide. Next, there is electric slide. Sometime in microscope it is inbuilt. There is tungsten lamp which is inbuilt in microscope, but if it is not inbuilt in microscope, on the time you have to take light from the sun, and there on the time there will be a concave mirror. Next, so firstly, listen about the mirror. The mirror reflects ray from the light surface on its objective. One side has a concave surface and other plane mirror. Hmm? To the observer of the condenser, the concave surface of mirror should be used, since concave surface put up low power. You can see the condenser in, there is a mentioned condenser. So firstly, listen about the condenser. What is condenser? If you know about the condenser, you can find condenser in any microscope. So the condenser is situated between the mirror and the stage. And what is the function of condenser? It maximum illustration, means it provide the maximum illustration. It is raise and minimum illustration. It's lower. The junction of condenser is to bring the rays of light to common focus. Means it helps to make the focus of light on this stage. Bring the rays, let me repeat it again, bring the rays of light to common focus on the object to be examined. Okay, next, what is the function of diaphragm? So the diaphragm, it is within that condenser, means it, you can see the diaphragm within the condenser. Like diaphragm has a function, it increase or decrease the source of light. Like sometime we need less amount of light, and sometimes we require much amount of light. So on that time the diaphragm do this function. It is within the condenser firstly, and it is used to reduce or increase the amount of light that pass through the condenser. Okay, next, there is a filters. There are some filters as well in, but filter is mainly in some microscope, not in all. But filter is below the condenser, means whatever light is coming, that light become filter, because sometimes sunlights also carry UV rays, and it is very harmful for the light. We can misinterpret the result, so that's why. So in filter below the condenser, firstly it is below the condenser. These can be left in place or removed according to type of object preparation for being examined, means we can remove the filter and we can add filter as per the our slide, as per our examination preparation. Next, there is two adjustment system. Firstly, I told you about some supporting system, then I told you about magnification system, then illumination system have different source, like one for source of light like daylight, electric light, and second I told you about the mirror, condenser, diaphragm, filter. Now I am going to tell you about the adjustment system. That mainly it has two adjustment system. First, coarse adjustment system, and second, fine adjustment system. You can see here So the course adjustments have the function like we firstly focus, we are focusing, and suppose in slide right now it is nothing visible, and when we sometime rotate it on the time when something blur object is visible, so on the time we stop the course adjustment and then we start the fine adjustment, then we go with fine adjustment and we see it clearly, we can see it's all structure fine. Okay, so these are the function of coarse and fine objective. So this is all about its component of the microscope, that what each part carry and how many parts in which it described. Now in my next slide I am going to tell you about its different types, what are the different types of microscope here. Before going for the types, firstly I want to tell you about the cleaning process of a microscope, that it is looking very hard to clean. Okay, so for this we just clean it with a soft cloth, okay, with soft tissue paper, dry objectives. So wipe it with the soft cotton cloths or maybe with the tissue paper. And second, if it is an oil immersion, so on the time firstly remove the oil with the absorbent paper and then go with the same process. Okay, and here in oil immersion you can use xylene to clean it. Okay, so now type of the microscope. Firstly, listen the name of the different microscope. There are different type of microscope like dark field microscope, phase contrast microscope, polarizing microscope, fluorescence microscope, and electron microscope. So from this five, and there is compound microscope as well and some other microscope also, like bicolumnar something, I forgot the name, uh, a monocolumnar. So this is, these different type of microscope are there. Okay, so from this I'm just going to tell about the special type of microscope. Here you can see there is phase contrast microscope, electron microscope, and fluorescence microscope. So these are the special type of microscope, it carries some special function in itself. So I am going to tell you each these parts separately. So firstly, phase contrast microscope, it helps to make some specific object, like the name phase contrast means that object with whatever you want to see, it will contrast. Okay, so let me read it. It is the method of illumination which enable observation of entirely transparent object without staining. Okay, so here we don't need to stain, but it will observe contrastically. So there is some principle. Ordinary specimens are visible because they have amplitude and intensity contrast. Okay, uh, from this you can read properly. But I told you about the phase contrast. Next is electron microscope. So in electron microscope we use electron. Okay, let me read it. In principle, it works by using light of shortened wavelength to increase resolving power. Okay, a powerful electron beam is passed in vacuum through magnified field which replace the usual optical system of the microscope, and image of the material under examination is photographed. Okay, so electron microscope firstly it require an yeah, it require computer. And for this piece, firstly electron microscope is mainly used in histopathology. Okay, where we what we do, there is an ultra microtome. And from ultra microtome we take the slices of sample. Okay, then we make the staining, sorry, stain. Yeah, we prepare the slide. And what is the process of preparing the slide in histo, I will tell you this thing, this is very unique process. Okay, and we on that place we use this electron microscope. Okay, yeah, and one more feature of electron microscope is a magnification of 1000 to 550,000 can be obtained in practice. An object as small as 1 2 microscope fight. If the object is 1 to 2 micron, suppose how much small it is, that small micron can visible in large magnified photograph. Okay, so this is all about the electron microscope as well. Now last is fluorescent microscope. So in fluorescent microscope we use the source of light of UV lamp and carbon arc. Okay, second, the alternative, the object can be stained by fluorescent dye. So in this stain, in this microscopy, firstly we prepare a slide, and that slide contain the fluorescent dye. Okay, and there are some fluorescent dye with like example of fluorescent dye are rhodamen, auramine, fluorescent, isothiocyanate. So these are the fluorescent microscope. And what is the function of fluorescent? Fluorescent means having the different colors in it. Okay, it is of very bright color and very high, of high wavelength as well. Okay, yeah. So this fluorescent dye, when we see in fluorescent microscope, it will look very contrast, very nicely. Okay, I will show you the picture of the fluorescent microscope as well. Right. So this is all about the microscope and its parts. I hope you like this video. Thank you so much. But let me show you the a picture of the fluorescent microscope. So this is the picture of fluorescent dye. Here you can see it is a long tube-like structure. Okay, I don't know what is this, but I know, see in C picture it is like a cyst. Maybe it is a cyst. Okay, and in D it is a blood. Maybe it is a blood, but I am not sure what is it, because I didn't work in with fluorescent dye, and we use fluorescent dye, fluorescent microscope in very specific things. So this is all about the microscope. Bye bye.